So my passion for periods comes from a very personal place. I know it's not the most common thing to be very passionate about or obsessed with, but I am. And my passion for periods starts when I was about 15 years old. My family experienced living without a home of our own and experiencing a lot of financial and housing instability. And during this time, I had many conversations with homeless women who were in much worse living situations than I was in. And they would tell me their stories, and we would bond with each other over our shared experience of growing up with domestic abuse and sexual assault. And I started asking them what's the most challenging thing about their living situation. And that's when I discovered the unaddressed natural need of periods. I accidentally collected this anthology of their stories of using toilet paper, socks, brown paper grocery bags, cardboard, and cotton balls to take care of their period. And it sparked this sort of anger within me, obsession with period poverty, but also this big privilege check. Because even in this time when my family was experiencing legal homelessness, and I felt very underprivileged compared to a lot of my classmates at our private school, at the same time, I never had to use trash to take care of my periods. And I grew up in a family that was comfortable talking about periods, so I didn't whisper the word period or tampon like it was something to hide as much, right? So I sort of became obsessed with periods, and I swear I have friends when I say this, but in my free time, I would sit by myself in front of my computer and Google keywords around period poverty and anything like that. I learned that periods are the #1 reason why girls miss school in developing countries. Period-related pain is a leading cause of absenteeism for girls in the US. And then in 2014, 40 states in the US had a sales tax on period products, considering them as a luxury. Meanwhile, products like Rogaine and Viagra were considered essential goods. So as me, for a budding 16-year-old feminist, I would sit there and think to myself, are you kidding me? Right? Like, with that statement, it's saying that old man hair growth and erections are considered more of a necessity than over half of our global population feeling clean, confident, capable 100% of the time, regardless of a natural need. So we're standing before you today not only as two passionate activists, period warriors in this menstrual movement, but also two very proud members of Generation Z. And with the theme of this year's conference being all of us, I not only want one of our messages to be all of us in this menstrual movement, but all of us being committed to empowering young leaders in this world. We came across so many no's and rejections when we were getting started. And I just want to say that if we underestimate young people today, we won't be achieving our full potential as a global population. Aside from my work at JUV, I'm also Chief Brand Officer at JUV Consulting, which is a Gen Z marketing agency that employs hundreds of Gen Z people all around the world to work with major brands from small organizations all the way to the Microsofts and Verizons of the world. And Generation Z is not, you cannot ignore Generation Z. We are big. We are the largest segment of a population in the history of the world. We're 26% of the global population. We're 46% of the total media audience. When you look at the data around Generation Z, we are driven change makers, fed up with the world around us, mad that the adults haven't taken care of issues that seem so blatantly clear to us, like the tampon tax, and we're ready to take action no matter what. We're defying this idea that you need a certain number of degrees or qualifications or professional experience to get started, and we just go for it. And that's the mentality that pushed me to start this organization with Vince when we were 16. That's the mentality that pushed me to run for public office for Cambridge City Council when I was 19 years old. And that's the mentality that I had when I wanted to write a book, and I just Googled how to write a book. So with that, thank you so much for listening and talking about periods.